Namaste. My name is Dr. Shloka Iyengar, and it is such a pleasure to welcome you all from New York City. I have the distinct pleasure of being the Sutradhar for today's show. I grew up in Ahmedabad, and after my undergraduate work in pharmacy, I helped set up the first humane spay and neuter shelter for stray dogs in Ahmedabad. And in this role, where I was working with hundreds of dogs every single day, working with pigeons and crows and snakes and monkeys, I really started observing keenly animals. And it is through animal behavior that led me to my interest in neuroscience. I came to the US to pursue my doctoral work in neuroscience, where I was looking at epilepsy and seizure disorders. And my question or my hypothesis was trying to address synaptic plasticity, which is a process by which synapses or the neurons in our brains change with experience. And my project entailed looking at how seizures and epilepsy impacted synaptic plasticity. After my PhD, I came to New York, where I am now, for my postdoctoral work, where I was also looking at epilepsy and seizure disorders. I had a break of several years in dance. I started learning dance when I was very young with Srimati Maheshwari Nagarajan, Sri Nagarajan Sir, and Srimati Vanita Jayan. And after a break of several years, when I came to New York, I had the good fortune of starting to dance again. And as a practitioner of both science and dance, there were so many points of convergences between, very specifically, neuroscience and Bharatanatyam, but even broadly between the arts and the sciences that were really apparent to me. And in order to articulate these points of convergences, these intersections between these two seemingly disparate fields, I started an online production. I curate this production called Vichar. The goals of Vichar, as I mentioned, are to articulate, what are the points of convergences between neuroscience and Bharatanatyam, and really thinking even more broadly about the impact of arts and sciences in the world around us. And my basic or my overarching guide of a question is to see if Bharatanatyam can really help us address how the brain works. So as the Sutradhar for today, I will be announcing or introducing the items that students of Nritya Kala Kendra are going to perform. The first item is an ode to Lord Shiva. As we know, Lord Shiva, in his form as Nataraja, is the cosmic dancer. He is the god of dance. And thinking about why even look at this intersection, right? Why should we look at the intersection of Bharatanatyam and neuroscience and arts and the sciences? And I think there's many reasons to do so. One, as scientists yourselves, you will know that science is an inherently creative field. So while we don't typically think of scientists as creative people, we know that as scientists, we are innovating, we are creating almost every single day. Both these disciplines, Bharatanatyam and neuroscience, really entail years and years of study, of work, after which we have the tools through which we can either, in science, address new hypotheses, ask questions about the world around us, about ourselves, about how our brains and our minds work. And in Bharatanatyam, this very systematized toolkit gives us the tools to really innovate, to think, to come up with new pieces, to tell new stories with this vocabulary that we have been given. The second reason why I think it's important to look at this convergence is that the impact of science and the arts are really all around us. While the impacts of technology, the way I'm talking to you from really thousands of kilometers away, is an aspect of technology these days that we cannot discount, movement and art are really also all around us. Whether it is, the rustling of leaves in the wind, whether it is the waves of the ocean, all the things around us. Movement is inherent to life, whether it's movement outside of us or movement within ourselves, within our neurons, within our cardiac cells. So movement is dance, and that's another reason to look at this intersection. And the third, and I think a very important reason, again, to look at this intersection between Bharatanatyam and neuroscience is that the arts and the sciences have the ability to bring people together. While many disciplines, many ways of thinking about the world are inherently divisive, the arts and the sciences can really bring people together, give a common vocabulary to understand what's happening around us. And my feeling is that the arts and the sciences are really two different ways of looking at reality. As scientists, we try to be objective, we have experiments, we come up with data, and we look at the world from an objective or as objective as possible way. Whereas the arts, I think, is a very personal and an individual sense of reality around us. So I hope this gives us a little bit of an introduction as to why even think of this intersection and convergence. As I mentioned, the first piece that our amazing students of Nritya Kala Kendra are going to be presenting is an ode to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva in his form of Nataraja is the cosmic dancer, and our students will be presenting the Ananda Tandavam and really requesting Lord Shiva to bless his disciples. This song has been sung by Sri Jayan Nair. The ragam or melody is Revati and the talam is Chaturashra Ekam. I hope you enjoy this piece.